If you're looking for animate icon, definitely try to see this animate icon. As you can see, it's basically free and open source animated SVG icon for React. It's built with Motion and Lucid. So let's take a look here. As you can see, there's a couple icon in here. There's a 225 icon, and a lot of this is pretty nice. I think it's really smooth and really nice to see. As you can see, the layout, the text right here, eyes and eyes close, scan, things like that. As you can see, the user check in here, right? Really nice. There's a lot of icons that have really smooth animation in here. So let's try to see how we can using that. I just like to try the new project from the shadcn. So let's take a look in here. I'm going to use base UI. And also I'm going to use, just make sure the icon is lucid. As you can see in here, there's a couple options for the icon. I'm going to select lucid because this icon is using lucid by default. So I'm going to use lucid and then I'm going to lock that. Here we go. So let's try to shuffle. Just trying to find really nice theme in here. I think this one is fine. So now let's just click this create project. I'm going to use Next.js, just copy the command. So let's just paste that and hit enter and everything it should be done. Now let's try to use the icon here. As you can see, we can search the icon in here. For example, like a Figma, we have that right here, right? That's pretty nice. But I'm going to use maybe where is that? The blocks right here, right? So anyway, you can just copy the code and paste that. You can create a file, just copy and paste, or you can use this command right here. I'm going to use that. So just copy the command and paste that. Here, I'm going to hit enter. As you can see on the component in here, we just have a component example and example. So it's basically will create the blocks component, I believe. And as you can see, that's the blocks icon in here. It's generated automatically. Super nice. So let's take a look how we can using that here on the app and page. I'm going to render that in here basically. Now let's take a look the localhost 3000 and here we go. As you can see, that's the icon. When I hover, we have this really nice animation, right? That's super smooth. Let's take a look here on the package.json. Basically, it should be automatically install the motion package as well, as you can see in here, right? So basically, we can send some props on the blocks icon in here. You can see on these props in here, we can put a on mouse enter, on mouse leave, class name, size, and duration is animate, etc. So here, for example, I'm gonna put the size. I'm gonna change the size, right? So by default it's 24, so I'm gonna put that like a 28. Let's save, and as you can see, it's more bigger, right? The duration, for example, I'm gonna setting that to 2 seconds. So now if I save and reload, as you can see here, it's basically 2 seconds. Now I'm going to create two buttons in here called start and stop. So let's try to import the button. And anyway, what I like to do is basically when I click start, it should be start the animation icon. When I stop, it should be stop the animation icon. So how we do that? Basically here, we need to create a variable like, for example, cons, and I'm going to say block ref. So we can set equals to use ref. And then here for the type of this ref is basically block icon handle. And then by default, I'm going to put null in here. So now we can just copy the block ref variable, and in here on the block icon component, we can put like a ref set equals to that variable block ref. And in here, we can do like on click event. And what I'm going to do is really simple. I'm going to start running the block ref dot current, and I'm going to run the start animation just like this. And that's basically when I click the button, it should be start the animation. Just that's it. Really simple. And also on the stop, I'm going to copy this one and then paste that. Here, what I'm going to do is when I click the stop button, it should be running the stop animation. Just that's it. So now let's take a look what we have. Here we have an error because we're using use ref hooks. That's why in here we have to change the component to the client. So now let's take a look when I click start. As you can see, the animation is start running, right? When I click stop, it stopped the animation. That's pretty nice. Alright, so hopefully this is helpful and see you on the next one.